everyone, and you're very welcome to Dunboyne College's Open Evening for 2022 for our classes beginning next September 2022 into June of 2023. Whether you're joining us tonight from Meath, Dublin, Kildare, Westmeath, Offaly, Cavan or further afield, we thank you for inviting us into your homes, into your living rooms, to actually present to you some of the many courses that are available here in Dunboyne College. After a while, Eilish Lavin, on behalf of the Pre-University Arts Law Department, will be presenting the courses in this department, and she'll be joined by a panel who will be able to speak to you about many of the progression opportunities that are available, and Maeve and Derek from our guidance team will talk to you about where you can go from here, be it into industry or be it on to a third level programme. This is our 20th annual Open Night, and for the second year in a row we've been coming out to you remotely because of course, the COVID difficulties that we as a nation are experiencing. However, we hope in April to have an open afternoon where you'll have the chance to come in and sit down with lecturers, see the facilities and equipment that's here, and ask each of the lecturers what's on the programme and talk to our guidance team about all of the progression routes. I want to thank Hilda Coughlin and her events team, which have organised tonight, and particularly Robert, Susan and Ronan, who are the technical people who make it possible for us to come into your home this evening. There is massive demand across this region for our courses at the moment, and in this open night presentation you will see so many of the opportunities that are available to you. At the moment we're going to be featuring our pre-university courses, but later on at 7 o'clock those of you who are interested in IT, computers and design will be able to tune in, and earlier this evening we had our business programmes. Last night we had health, science and service areas, and all of these presentations will be available to you from tonight on right throughout the coming months on opendcfe.ie. So if you miss anything, you want to revisit it, please do tune in again. Dunboyne College of Further Education. What do we pride ourselves on? We pride ourselves on being a very good learning environment and also having a family atmosphere. We have student supports from very, very experienced tutors, very strong in their fields of expertise, high quality teaching both on and off campus, and massive supports for anyone who needs them. We're a college with a great track record going right back to 2003, and we have an outstanding reputation among all the local institutions, third level, and many of the employers of this region as well. In fact, in the last week, we've appeared in the Irish Independent, the Irish Times, and numerous radio stations who thought it important to feature the huge progression routes available now through further education, and specifically the high amount of students who progress every year from Dunboyne College into higher education and into industry. On the 20th of December this year, we had a very significant visit from Minister in our department, Simon Harris, and also Ministers Helen McEntee and Damien English, and they came here to see our facilities, to meet with our students and staff, and to tell us, very importantly, that we are now going to become the FET College of the Future Design Campus. So a purpose-built design campus will be on site here in the coming years, here in the Dunboyne area, serving this entire region of Meath, Dublin, Kildare and wider afield. We have over 60 courses here, all accredited by QQI. All our courses are at least levels 5 and 6. Every course leads to further progression in the ITs and in the universities. All our courses have a work experience module, so you get to understand and get the clinical experience in healthcare or get the on-the-job experience in many of the other industries. Statistically, QQI students are more focused, they have excellent retention at third level, and they perform extremely well academically once they get there. In fact, Dunboyne College sends more students to universities and institutes of technology than most secondary schools in the country. For those who finish their award with us, the full 8 modules, over 90% of those who apply to CAO get a third level offer. Now, only about 50% of our students would apply to CAO because many would come here for industries like childcare, animal care, healthcare, office, etc., hair and beauty, and they're employed directly into the industry once completing the course here. We have many flexible options here every September, and the one thing we do pride ourselves on is our dropout rate is very low while the students are here, but also for students who do a further education course first and then move on to third level, the dropout rate is 3% or lower, compared to 10% in universities in first year for people coming directly from Leaving Cert, and 20% plus in many of the IOTs on some of the courses where people drop out because they don't feel ready to complete that type of programme. Maeve and Derek here tonight will answer all your questions about those links and the best ways to progress. And in terms of those offers, this year we had over 400 offers to third level, including 350 at level 8. 115 students were offered a course in Maynooth University, 39 in DCU, 21 in UCD, 168 in the TU for Dublin, 12 for Trinity, 22 for Dundalk, 31 for Athlone, and double-digit offers to many of the institutions around the country, from Cork to Limerick to Galway. So you have a huge chance of progressing, and as I said, for those who choose not to go the CAO route, there is a massive chance, over 90% of those students, non-CAO students, would progress directly into industry within a few months of completing their programme here. What do you learn along the way? You learn skills for life that are so important. They equip you for third level institution and for moving on as well. You learn how to reference, how to do a bibliography. You learn how to present an assignment on time. You're shown how to navigate the many online platforms like Moodle that are used by the universities. You do research and learn how to apply theory to your assignments. You're responsible for your own work. It's self-directed learning. You learn time management. You learn essential skills which will always stand to you. Further education, and particularly PLC courses, are a great option to try a course and learn new skills while in a college environment. In Dunboyne College, we're a very unique bridge to the next stage of the educational journey, be it into industry or be it into the many institutions that we have a very close working relationship here that are on our doorstep, like Maynooth, like DCU, like TU for Dublin. Further education provides clarity and it provides opportunity. At the end of the year, many of our students will come back to us and say, it's been the best decision that I have ever made. Our website, dunboynecollege.ie, features our newsletter. And Ailish Lavender always puts together a wonderful newsletter here in the college, and it shows the length and breadth of the activities that our students are actually involved in. The Student Council, fundraisers, theme weeks, Green Campus, Erasmus programmes with trips to Exeter and Barcelona and other places, scholarship programmes, and a wealth of activities is available there. So please take the time to have a look at that, and even though you're only here for a year, you have a chance to experience many other clubs and societies as well. So how do you get to Dunboyne College of Further Education? It's free to apply. PLC grants are available through Susie. There's no enrolment fee and just a €30 non-refundable deposit. If you go on dunboynecollege.ie, there's a red square in the corner that says apply now. You can click on that. 10 of our courses, including some that will be featured now, like the pre-university teaching shortly, are also available on CAO. CAO is running a pilot this year to include all further education courses, which by next year, in January of 2023, every single further education course in the country will be up on CAO. But many of them are available now, but the one place you can always find us is on dunboynecollege.ie. Once you fill in the form, you will be invited to upload a personal statement. We also look for a photograph. We look for a reference, in terms of your school and maybe where you've been up to now, and maybe a set of results, the last set of results you have. Once all that's uploaded and you pay your fee, your place is guaranteed. You have an offer in your back pocket no matter what happens with your Leaving Cert or what happens down the road. Also, mature learners are always welcome to apply, and we welcome up to 20% of our students here who would be going back to college and maybe looking to up their employment opportunities down the line. And you can always claim a refund right up to next October if you change your mind or if you get a third level offer. But I will say demand is usually high. Up to 2,500 students every year apply for our 1,000 places. So it's always worthwhile to apply early. So my final comments are these before I hand over to Ailish. After 2 years of uncertainty for those of you doing the Leaving Cert, maybe it's time to take the time out to develop the career options that you really want, whether you have the points or not. Why not spend a year exploring that area, be it in arts or law or science or nursing, whatever it happens to be. You explore that particular option for the year. And then come May of next year, you're in a great place to move on to the next step of your educational journey with very diverse skills in your arsenal. If anything you missed tonight, I just repeat this again, it's on opendcfe.ie, and you can also apply through that site. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. As we have said for the past 18 years, begin here, go anywhere. We hope you find what you've been looking for here this evening. We thank you for tuning in, and we want you the very best of luck on your educational journey. Henry Miller once said that our destination is never a place, but it's a way of seeing things. So wherever way you see yourself progressing, whether it's to Dunboyne College or not, I want to wish you the very best on your journey. Have a very good evening, and now I hand you over to Ailish Lavin.
Thanks, Dennis. Welcome to the Arts, Law and Teaching department. I'm going to talk through the courses that are available in this department, and when I'm finished I'll pass you over to our panel who will answer any questions you have. We offer quite a number of different arts options in this department depending on where your interests lie, and the first one I'm going to talk about is the pre-university Arts, Culture and Heritage Studies option. It's a one-year course, like a lot of our courses, and it aims to prepare participants for entrance into arts programmes in Irish universities and colleges, as well as preparing students to work in a European environment, both in Ireland and abroad. Students have the options of taking modules such as the cultural option through archaeology and folklore, or they could take history modules or concentrate on a language option with European studies. These are the main options that are under that course. We offer history and local history, political studies, research and study skills, communications, folklore and ethnology, word processing, archaeology, work experience, environmental studies, language option and European studies as well. We do quite a lot of trips on these courses as well. So this is just one of the pictures from Newgrange. Our students would have gone to Newgrange over the past few years. And we also go to other heritage sites such as the Hill of Tara, Battle of Dunboyne and many others as well. The next course that's here is the pre-university liberal arts course. This would be a course which would offer a lot of the same as the first course we went through there, but it's more focused around English options. Again, it allows participants to enter into arts programmes in Irish universities and colleges and prepare students to work in a European environment in Ireland and abroad as well. And again, they can take some of the same modules that they would have taken in the first course that we went through there. This is one of our past classes that we had a couple of years ago, and they were celebrating Flag Day in the college. So some of the modules are repeated here, but the different ones that you would take under liberal arts are modules such as research and study skills. You'd also take English literature, literary, visual and performing arts. You can also take psychology, political studies is an option there as well. You also still have your language option, philosophy and European studies as well. These are just some examples of progression routes that can be taken. There's lots of different options, but this is where some of our students have gone in the past. We have students that would progress to arts at level 8 in universities such as Maynooth, DCU and UCD. And again, this is another one of our past classes from a couple of years ago. As well as doing trips, we like to have guest speakers who would come in to talk to the classes as well. So in this particular picture, we've got actress and advocate for the arts, Nuala McKeever. She ran a workshop for the students that particular day. So the next course in this department is pre-university teaching, and this would be aimed at any participants that know that they want to do teaching. This is a kind of an introduction to teaching, as a lot of participants don't know yet if they want to do primary or secondary teaching. So this prepares them for either of those. And as it says here, it says that this course is for those who know that education is their first choice of career. So again, it's a one-year course and it prepares participants for entrance into arts programmes and can also lay foundations for those who want to pursue a career as a primary or post-primary teacher. You can then progress on to an arts degree, or you can do education and training, and then you'd go on to do a postgraduate qualification to access your opportunities then in teaching. The modules here are concepts in education and training. Again, we cover communications and work experience, research and study skills, psychology, word processing, digital presentations. There's interpersonal and group behaviour, approaches to early childhood education. You also have a language option here as well, English literature, history and peer mentoring. And the certificate that you get at the end of that is a level 5 certificate, and it's in education and training. We also have some exciting news for our students that will be starting in 2022 in September. I'll let Aoife talk a little bit further about that, but it's an opportunity with Maynooth University to actually gain learning experience on their campus, which will be a great experience for students in the future. The entry requirements, as with all of our courses, you need to have a Leaving Cert, an LCA or an equivalent qualification, and we also will interview mature students of all backgrounds as well. Okay, so we're moving on to pre-university law and business law. These are two separate courses that we offer in the college. So again, pre-university law is another one-year course. It allows participants to enter into law and arts programmes in Irish universities and colleges, as well as preparing them to work in legal environments both in Ireland and abroad. It lays a foundation for those who know that law is their first choice and supports anyone who plans to go and study law at degree level as well. It also equips students with lots of transferable skills, as a lot of our courses do, and it allows them to study areas from law to arts to social studies and to criminology as well. The course content here is criminal law, business law, legal practice and procedures, word processing, work experience and communications, research and study skills, criminology, family law and conflict resolution. And again, these are just some of the progression examples that you could pursue. So we have law at level 8 in UCD, arts with law at level 8 in Maynooth, law level 8 in TU Dublin City campus, and then law and society at level 8 in DCU. As with our other courses, we also like to get guest speakers to come and talk to our students in law. So this is our one of our past guest speakers, John Cuff, who's a well-known author and a former prison officer. The law students also get to go and visit the central criminal courts as well. So this is two of our past class groups that got to do that. So business law then is slightly different. Again, it does prepare participants to enter into law and arts programmes in Irish universities and colleges, and also to work in legal environments, as our past one did as well. But there's some additional modules that are in this course, which would be more based around the business subjects, such as business administration, applied economics, accounting, manual and computerised as well. And again, we would have guest speakers into our business law groups as well. So again, this just covers the modules that we have spoken about, and then just to add in there as well, they also do safety and health at work. So again, these are just examples of progression routes. So students can progress to business and law at level 8 in UCD. They can do an arts joint honours law at level 8 in DCU. Business and Law level 8 in TU Dublin City campus, Business with Law at level 8 in Carlow IT as well. And then finally, this is a new course that we are going to be running from September this year, due to obviously demand from students and interest that they had. So this one is pre-university politics, economics and social science. So this is an interdisciplinary course, and it combines a study of politics, economics and social science, and gives an understanding of the interactions between economic, social and political processes. It equips learners with an understanding of how government policies and international relations work, and graduates will understand people and businesses, markets and government, and how to respond to national and global changes while understanding society, human behaviour and relationships. So the modules covered in this course are applied economics, political studies, intercultural studies, mathematics, word processing, European studies. There's a language option here as well, interpersonal and group behaviour, business administration skills, and safety and health at work. And then there's some career and education opportunities as well. So career opportunities, you can pursue your degree in universities and ITs, and then seek employment in a range of public service bodies or businesses. And then some of the progression routes from here are, there's a couple of options in UCD to go on to philosophy, politics and economics, or social policy and sociology. You could also pursue DCU and do international relations, economics, politics and law. Trinity offer business and economics and social studies. NUI Galway offer government, politics, economics and law. TUD Blanchardstown, you could pursue international business, and then in Maynooth there's arts, politics and international relations there. Okay, I'll just pass you over to our panel.
Good evening all, hope you're all enjoying our information evening so far. My name is Derek Ball, I'm one of the guidance counsellors here in Dunboyne along with my colleague Maeve Nimmo. Remember, if you have any questions regarding the courses, please put them up on the chat there. You can ask questions on college progression, the different courses or college life in Dunboyne College of Further Ed. So some really good questions coming in. We'll get started off with one of our law questions there for Shane. Shane, students are asking what the whole area around assessment, what format does assessment take in the law programmes?
Assessments in the law programme, we differentiate them because we want students to have different transferable skills. So it's not just essay writing. We get them to do debates. We also get them to do a nice fun assignment in terms of being in a moot court and being an advocacy and being a barrister and developing those skills as well as debate and also our exams. So really we're trying to tailor for students' ability and we're trying to get them to do different assessments. We don't want them to just do written pieces because that's not replicating what is out there in university. They are doing something different, so we want to match them and show them those skills.
So would the emphasis be on continuous assessment with small terminal exams? Is that?
So within the legal modules that they'll have, their legal P&P, criminal, family, it's always 2 assignments and it's always an exam at the end of the year in May. So it's quite different, the assessment. We want students problem questions, real life scenarios, thinking critically. It's about developing those skills we want.
I think another one of the advantages of further ed is that there is continuous assessment through the programmes and that the terminal exams aren't, massive at the end or a smaller percentage.
Absolutely, and I think the beauty of the law programme and all their courses, it intertwines with each other. So a lot of the theory that you're learning in your legal P&P, your criminal, that early foundational stuff, you're getting to replicate that a few times in assignments. So it's great for skills students to bring up their ability, to settle in for a little bit, and they can develop and progress. That's all. It's all about starting at the bottom and building them up throughout the year in May when they'll leave us.
That's great. Yeah.
And Joanna, in terms of modules, some students would have concerns over when they see the modules in the prospectus listed for different courses, and maybe some of them have a lot of modules, and maybe they have concerns over how many they need to do, or should they do all of them? And can you talk a little bit about the modules maybe and whether they're mandatory and stuff?
Okay. Thanks very much, Maeve. Well, to be eligible for your Level 5 award, you must take 8 modules. Now, some students will want to go on to take more modules. I mean, at the minute, we have some students that are taking 10 modules. But the most important thing is that you must take those 8 modules and always make sure that those modules correlate with the university course that you want to go on to do. Because that's very important, because you don't want to find yourself at the end of the year saying, I should have taken this particular module because now I can't get into my course, Maynooth, whatever. But of course, our fantastic guidance counsellors are there to guide the students into what modules they should be doing. But the most important thing is that you take your 8 modules, make sure that they correlate. If you feel that you can cope with more modules, I mean, that's fine, go for it. And, you can drop modules. If you find that it's too much pressure, that your workload is too much, you've got an option then to drop modules. But once you do your 8, some of the modules are compulsory. Like, for instance, communications and work experience are compulsory. You must take those modules and you must pass them. And then in some of the courses then, especially for the liberal arts and for the arts culture, there's another compulsory module, and that's also research study as well. So you're going to have some compulsory modules, definitely communications and work experience, but then also you've got elective modules that you can choose to take as well.
When the students start at first, they have all that guidance around the modules and what's important, and so they don't have to worry about, making those choices themselves.
No, they don't have to worry about that. And also, we always say at the start of the year, try as many modules as you can, because, you know, you have to give it a chance, because you might find that, you know, a module that you thought you weren't going to be interested in, you might find that that's the one that you're most interested in. So we would always say, you know, at the start, we would encourage them to try to take as many modules as they can. And then if they feel that, you know, it's not really for them, then they can drop at that stage. But, you know, really when you think of, you know, the entry requirement, you know, for university, like, for instance, if you're on an arts course for Maynooth, they want a minimum of 5 distinctions. But we would always say, try to take as many modules as you can, just to give yourself really, you know, a good, you know, chance, the best chance that you can to get as many distinctions with those modules as you can.
Brilliant, Joanna, thank you.
There's a lot of interest there in our teaching courses, both primary and secondary. Some questions are coming in. The H4 requirement in Irish to proceed to the postmasters in primary teaching. What if you're coming in via further ed? Is that requirement still there?
That is an excellent question, Derek, because it's probably the single most asked question by our pre-teaching students here in the college. So anybody applying for primary teaching, so post-primary this isn't applicable, but for primary teaching they do need to know that for Leaving Cert they should have, there is a minimum entry requirement of a H4 in Irish to follow that the primary school teaching route. But if they don't gain the H4 at Leaving Cert, all is certainly not lost, and they can still progress to primary school teaching via our pre-teaching programme here in the college. So our pre-teaching course covers both primary and post-primary. When you are taking the course, there is an Irish module option. So students following the primary route should be taking that module, and then when they progress onto a course like the MH101 Arts degree in Maynooth, they will also allow students to take an additional module in Irish that will bring them up to the required standard in Irish to apply for the PME in primary school teaching. But it's also worth mentioning at this point that Maynooth University also run a level 6 programme which students would be eligible to progress to, the Think About Teaching Foundation certificate. That's for students, it's to promote diversity in teaching, and it's for students from particular groups that are currently underrepresented in teaching, and that would include further education students. And that course also allows further progression onto Irish modules that would really have students very well prepared to undertake their primary initial teacher education studies.
And Shane, in relation to the difference between the law and the business law, you know, when students can make an application to Dunboyne College, they have a first, second and third choice. And if you do apply early, as in the springtime, you will generally get your first choice. And a lot of students, when courses are quite similar, like law and business law, are confused and in a dilemma as to which one to pick. Maybe modules are the same. And, you know, we do have movement in the first few weeks after students start in September. If they have picked the wrong course, they feel it's wrong, they will come to Derek and myself and talk to us. We do have movement there, but can you maybe give us a little bit of an outline as to the difference between the business and the business law for some students?
Absolutely. So the law and the business law. So really the law, our law course, our pre-university law course is oftentimes for those students who know that law is definitely for them. And that is difficult, and we understand that it is a difficult question to consider what are you going to study. So with the pre-university business law, it gives them that flavour. It gives them that they can take the legal studies award or they can take the business studies award, but they just don't have to rush into that decision. They don't need to make it straight away, because that can be the decision that they make in May after taking the full course. So it gives them the flavour of those business side of modules, but also those legal modules. So a lot of students might be worried, well, if I just apply for the business law, am I going to miss the law modules? Absolutely not. You can still take the family, the criminal, the legal P&P, the criminal, which you will see on our pre-university. However, if you're a little bit more certain, I would encourage you to apply for the pre-university law course. But again, it's just we want to give students and recognise it is a difficult decision. So maybe the business, pre-university business might be more for you if you're in doubt.
Saying that it just keeps the door open a little bit more for students who are a little bit still unsure.
Absolutely. And still, as you said, Maeve, very correctly at the start, even if you do apply for the pre-university law, there still is movement within the first few weeks, and we'll be encouraging students to go to both yourself and Derek. So either way, we're trying to say to students, do not worry, the doors are always open, we won't close them.
Brilliant.
I think that touches on another great advantage of further ed, is that, you know, the transferability from our courses. you know, a lot of students would come to further ed to try and maybe get a taster for a course, but it doesn't mean that you're stuck in that area. If you do, we'll say, you know, take a law course at Dunboyne College, and you might decide during the year that you actually don't like that course. It doesn't mean, that's not a bad thing. You can still apply for other different faculties at the universities, which is great.
And say to students is the most important thing with further ed is completing your course. It's getting through this year. You know, you might have come in with an idea at the start of the year, but complete your course, get through this year, do your assignments, your exams, but also the world is your oyster and you can apply for different things. And, you know, when we often say, you know, careers, you don't close yourself off. Those options are there.
That actually is very important in terms of, you know, how generic in one way your results from a further education course can be. You're not stuck with what you pick. So if you try a law course, for example, and you're halfway through it and you decide, oh, this really isn't for me, you know, your set of results that you get it can be used to apply for other things that aren't related to law. So while you know you have picked law, it's very valuable to you to get your set of results to move forward into other degrees also.
Of a course, you know, you might be thinking that a course is going to be something, and the reality could be a little bit different for you. But aren't you better off to try it here and to, you know, explore those ideas here than elsewhere, you know, at a university standard?
Joanna, the students asking there, what would be the main difference between pre-university arts liberal and pre-university arts culture and heritage?
Well, in a lot of ways, you know, they're very similar, but the liberal arts focuses more on English, and you have that English literature module where you wouldn't have in the arts cultural module. But at the end of the day, you know, there is a lot, you know, like for some of the subjects that can be the same, for instance, folklore and history, they would also take on the liberal arts. So there's not really that much difference. It's just that the liberal arts would be more English based.
And just a little bit about progression, actually, in terms of, you know, this being the arts programme, arts department with law and teaching, and then the MH101 in Maynooth, which is very apt for this conversation here today, because MH101 in Maynooth is a great course that a lot of our students will progress on to. And it's really important at this point to say that, you know, when you're in Leaving Certificate, you have a third language requirement for MH101. And, you know, when you're coming through the further education route, you do get another set of results that's separate from your Leaving Cert. So it is giving you two pathways and two options, you know, two sets of results to be able to get offered your place. But also what's really important is that third language is now gone. So you're working off a different system, a QQI set of results system. And that means now that, you know, you don't require that third language, which is really important for a lot of students who really struggle with the third language. So that's gone for you at that point. Really important point at further education too.
A lot of general questions coming in there around, you know, the typical kind of course structure or a typical week in Dunboyne College. So all of our courses are 1 year full-time courses, academic courses from September until the middle of May. But what we do is we condense your time on campus into 3 days per week, 3 to 3.5 days per week. And the reason we do that is to give you 1 day a week for work experience. Work experience is a mandatory module on all courses, and you can do those. It's a minimum of 60 hours during the year. You can do that 1 day per week, or you can do it maybe during the midterms or the Christmas, Easter holidays, whichever way you want to do it. You'll spend the 5th day of the week working on assignments, preparing for classes, and working on Moodle, which is basically your school bag becomes electronic when you get to further ed, and all your class notes will be up there, your assessments, etc. All courses have a minimum of 8 modules, as Joanna mentioned earlier on, and some of those are mandatory, and then you'll pick elective modules which are related to the area that you're actually studying. So you're on campus 3 to 3.5 days per week, and then the rest of the week is for studying and catching up on your work experience.
And, you know, when you talk about work experience there as one of the days of the week, Joanna, could you talk to us a little bit about, you know, placement in work experience and how students would go about getting that, or, you know, and is that mandatory and things like that?
The work experience is mandatory because that module is compulsory. Now, what we say about placements, yes, every student must go out on placement. They must do 60 hours of work experience to be eligible to pass that work experience module. Now, what we have always said to students, you know, it's very important that they try to find their own placement, because at the end of the day, you know, as Dennis said earlier on, this is all about independent learning and just becoming independent and becoming adults and all of that, taking responsibility for your own education. But, you know, in saying that, yes, we would encourage students to try to find their own placement. But at the end of the day, you know, we support the students, and we have a very large database of, you know, companies and industries and, you know, educational institutions that our previous students would have gained work experience in. And if a student is really struggling to find a work placement, then we will always help them with that. So, for instance, for our pre-teaching group, like, a lot of those students will do work placement, or they'll get their 60 hours work placement in their previous schools, the secondary schools that they went to, or the primary schools. And I have to say, you know, over the years, principals of schools have been very good in taking our students in. We've also had students that have gone to work with the Arts Council. You know, they go into, the law students go into, you know, solicitors' firms and all of that. And I have to say, you know, the database that we have, and, you know, is they're very cooperative with us. And, you know, our previous students, thankfully, have done very well on work placement. And so our students would be welcomed, you know, with regards, you know, their work placements. So what I'd say is, try to get your own placement if you can. But if you really can't, then we'll offer all the support that you need.
It's not something that students need to worry about or have
concerns
about.
They don't need to worry about that. They don't need to have any concerns. And at the end, I mean, and even, you know, we've just come through 2 years of the pandemic, and some of our students weren't able to get work placements anywhere. So what we did was we brought in another module. It was called PPD, and that covered them then for the people that couldn't get work experience. So at the end of the day, no, students mustn't worry, because we'll support them, and, you know, we'll find a placement somewhere for them. And if they really can't get a placement, then we'll try to cover it in other ways.
Brilliant.
Some students are asking there to have part-time jobs. Can they use that as their work experience? And I suppose the answer is yes, you can, if you can relate it to the course.
Well, at the end of the day, sorry, can I just say, you know, at the end of the day, we would say try to get your work placement, you know, within the industry that you hopefully want to work in. But if that is, you know, difficult, then we would say, you know, if you have a part-time job, then use that part-time job, because at the end of the day, what employers are looking for and what we are looking for with regards to the criteria for that work experience module is that you show good communication skills, good planning skills, that you turn up on time, that you're well presented, all of those sort of generic things that you would need when you're presenting yourself, you know, in your workplace. So, you know, that would be very important, just to let students know that yes, they can use their whatever part-time job they have if they can't find something else.
Aoife, there's a couple of comments there on our third language options of French and Spanish on the different arts courses. Are they electives or are they mandatory? Do students have to take them up?
The language options are elective, so we offer French, Spanish and Irish, which I mentioned earlier on. So sometimes students can panic a bit when they see these language options on their timetable and they haven't done them before. They're not ab initio, so they're taking them. They really should have taken, if they want to take French, for example, they should have taken it to Leaving Cert level before undertaking the Level 5 module. But really valuable modules for students who are looking to teach those languages and follow a post-primary route, that they would keep up their language skills throughout the year, but they are elective modules.
And we have a very specific question here about law and becoming a human rights lawyer. The starting journey of any specialisation like that is to get your basic law degree first, as is a lot of specialised areas that you want to work in. You really need to go through, you know, if you're coming through the further education route first onto a law degree, then to get your basic law degree and then specialising afterwards. If you've anything to add to that at all, Shane?
Absolutely, and I would agree with what you said, Maeve. The one thing that I encourage students is to get a law degree, but also don't close those doors. there is laws for everything. If we really want, human rights is a great area, but you might, in your time here, realise that you like family. Some of the modules you'll explore here, there is laws in pensions, tax. We can go on. So I wouldn't never say, specialise. Don't be thinking there, because broaden your horizons, because you never know with the content here. It actually might be even something that you never considered and what that could do.
Sometimes students, say to Derek and I how surprised they are at an area that they had an idea that they wouldn't like, and then it turns out to be something of great interest to them. And indeed, in our own lives, we have those experiences as well all the time, where you have a notion about something and then it's another area that turns out to be really where your interest lies and where your strengths are indeed as well. So keeping those doors open is fantastic, yeah.
To come with a career like that, there's so many different careers, and one thing we try to encourage here is that law, typically solicitor, barrister, but you can be a researcher, you can work in the public sector. There's a lot of alternative law careers that people don't consider. So I think there's that image there that I must be a solicitor or barrister, but you can be anything with a law degree, and that's the transfer.
That's what people know of that area. They know that law is solicitor, law is barrister.
It can be much more.
It can be much more.
Broaden those horizons and explore and enjoy the content, because that can come afterwards, what you want to do within law. And that can be for anything, even arts as well. We can say that more broadly.
A lot of questions there about our application process and are we open for applications? We are open for applications. We opened early in November, and as Dennis mentioned earlier on, this is the first year that they have introduced further ed onto the CEO application process. But our applications are also still open directly via our website, and we probably advise you just to apply directly on our website, www.dunboynecollege.ie. It's a fairly simple application form. The admissions department will get back to you straight away requesting 4 supplementary pieces of information of you: a personal statement, a photograph, a reference, and a recent set of results. And then you'll hear back from the admissions department. You pay a deposit, that secures your place. And as Dennis said, it's done on a first come, first served basis. So our advice to you will be to get your application in as soon as possible, whether it be your first choice or your or a backup plan, it doesn't matter. And if you do not take the course, you will get your deposit back minus a €30 administration fee. I think we're coming near the end of our time there. We have to wind it up. Remember, if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with Maeve or myself. Our emails are on the website, and all information about the college, plus lots more information, is up there on the website as well.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.